No long introductions. This is just how I made a small greenhouse, grow house, using bamboo. That was large bamboo and it was 40 foot long. I cut it in half. Before you start, set it up on the ground with corner stakes and make sure everything's nice and square. That way your project will be square when you're done. This bamboo is about 3 inches in diameter, and I used a machete to split it in half and then split it in half again. Before you split it in half again, take a maul, 3-pound hammer, and knock out the center sections along the two long halves. And that'll make it easier to split it in half again. Now start with the center pole and set it down, and then set your cross members across that. And I wired them together using 14 gauge binding wire. It's an annealed wire and it's soft, and you can twist it together and it holds firm. Now add in the two side supports and wire those together too. Now you have a flat greenhouse almost ready to have the covering applied to it. Here's a detailed picture of how it was wired together. And it's twisted down till it's tight, but not so tight that you break your wire. You can also do a double X across it. I didn't see that it made any difference. Well, okay, it's time to start adding the purple netting to this. Okay, so now we need to stake one side of this greenhouse to the ground, and there's several ways you can do it. I did a right angle piece of bamboo into the ground and then wired it to that, but it may be better to do them in parallel so that the bamboo that stakes in the ground fits flush with the pole that's going to go up in the air. But wire it together just one side, and that'll anchor it so you'll be able to lift up the greenhouse and it'll start to arch, and you'll be able to do the other side by yourself. Okay, start applying the netting to it. I used a goop to glue one edge to the front side of the greenhouse. I only added about a 1 or 2 inch bead about every foot along the front edge of that first bamboo to secure the netting to that bamboo. And then later I stretched it all the way across after I lifted it up and secured it to the other edge, same way. The height of this is about 5 feet 11 inches. The slats that make up the arch were 17 feet long, and the stakes, between the stakes, it's about 9 to 10 feet. So if you set your other stakes out there around 9 feet and secure your slats to those stakes, you'll end up with a thing about 5 feet 11 inches, and you may not break your slats, but it depends on how thick your slats are. If they're too thick, they won't bend. The thinner they get, the easier they are to bend. And when you split them, it's best to split from the top to the ground when you're starting out. If you go the other way, they get too thin. Okay, before I put the ends on, I set up my sprinkler system. I put in 2 dig sprinklers, and they cover the complete ground on the inside of the netting. And I decided to add the water system to this net, to the grow house, before I went any further. And I used a couple of dig sprinklers, and there's about 20 pounds of pressure on them, and they cover the complete floor of the greenhouse. Okay, this turns out to be the hardest part of the whole project, putting the ends on. I used goop to secure it, but you get a lot of folds in there, but that's okay. Just glue it to there as best you can, and then I weighted it with some firewood to stop the wind from blowing in. I'll eventually cut a slit on the other side so that I can go in and out of it, but that's what I've done so far with it. I now have one side complete. The netting is glued to the support, and it's also glued to the firewood logs that will stop the wind from blowing the netting in. A little bit about this netting, you may ask, why purple? Well, the purple reduces the stress on the plants better than shade cloth does. It also promotes them to grow as if they weren't under a shade cloth. This is an enhanced image of the inside of the grow house, and if you notice, the black hose has a purple tinge to it. And the whole ground kind of has a purple tinge, but it's really hard to see it. But it is there, and the light spectrum has been selected, and we're going to see how this stuff works. I do have this netting for sale. It's 11 feet wide, and I sell it by the foot. And each linear foot is going to cost $3.75. Well, you're going to say, well, that's kind of expensive. But I just showed you how to build an inexpensive greenhouse, so you can use the money you saved on building the greenhouse to buy the grow cloth. I also carry a variety of Dig sprinklers and Dig solar powered 3/4 inch automatic programmable valves, so you can get your water anytime that you want. You can set up to 5 different times a day that you want it to water, and you can set it up by weeks and days and all kinds of things. Dig makes a really good product, so if you're interested, get in contact with me. Picture of the solar timers by Dig. They're really good 3/4 inch valves. Hopefully I didn't waste too much of your time. I hope this makes your life a little better. It's helped me in getting rid of the deer, the chickens, and other things that were trying to eat my garden. And also I was having problems with the sun overcooking my vegetables for me before I even cooked them. And hopefully this will solve that problem. I'll try to post up some more videos of how the garden grows through the summer. Yeah, so right now it's about all I can do for you. Bye-bye. Take care and thanks. Okay, I understand parts of this video may be confusing, so if you're confused, just please ask questions and I'll answer the best I can. Again, thank you very much. Bye-bye.